Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel. It's Sunday, the first Sunday after 23-24 ended. Finally, it is over. We can close that book and we can archive it and never speak about it anymore. What a disaster season, especially that second part of the season. Now it's time to start thinking about 24-25 with a lot of dreams, with beautiful dreams, with a much better Juventus than the one that we just archived. Unfortunately, we start at 24-25. Right after the triple whistle of Juventus Monza with a big controversy, with the big controversy that we will talk about for the next coming days. Thiago Motta that didn't even arrive yet. He didn't choose for Federico Chiesa. Controversy online. A lot of Juventini are pissed off. We'll speak about that towards the end of the video. We'll speak about Di Gregorio that already said goodbye officially to his ex-supporter of Monza. What about Szczesny? We'll speak about Fagioli MVP of yesterday and much more in today's video. Before it's too late, before you are pissed off, because I will probably be unpopular also when I will speak about Sandro, because I read a lot of hypocrisy online. Well, before that, put a maximum of like, don't forget to subscribe. Ragazzi, update, small update. This morning we reached 29,828 Juventini of the world on this channel. 172 to go before reaching our dream. 30,000 Juventini before the end of May, depends on you. Comment, let me know what you think about that controversy, Chiesa, Thiago Motta, because now we start slightly recap of the game of yesterday. Not that it's really interesting because it's the last one, of course. We won 2-0. I'm extremely happy. I wanted to close the season with a victory that sees that Juventus is at the moment third in the ranking. Depending on what Atalanta will do in the next coming games, we can or finish fourth or finish third. Is it that important? In terms of name, third is of course better than fourth, but it will not change the future of Juventus, which is the most important thing. 2-0 with the goal of Federico Chiesa in first half, and then of course the romantic story, you know, like in a movie, the last goal of the season by Sandro. We'll come back on him in a second. Nicolo Fagioli, let me just spend a few words on him. How much did we miss Nicolo this season? The one that is wearing the number 21 a lot. The guy that should have been the consecration year of Nicolo Fagioli after what we saw in 21-22, well, or 22-23, sorry. 23-24 should have been his season. We missed him. His vision, his way of playing, his one touch, his acceleration of the game, verticality. We missed him a lot. Because of himself, he's taking accountability on it. He paid the price for it. I can't wait to see Nicolo Fagioli, the full Nicolo Fagioli, in the next season. He will be important in the team of Thiago Motta. Absolutely important, key, I will tell you. He wants to. And let's see if Spalletti will take him in the last 26, what he can also deliver in Euro 2024. Now, I am also happy, of course, about Montero, that was there for 2 games. Not easy for Montero to jump for the last 2 games, even if the objectives were already reached. Well, he did well. Remontada against Bologna 3-3, and then yesterday the win, changing a lot of things also, taking accountability on that, going towards a 3-4-3 with a lot of rotations, with a lot of players that we were asking ourselves, were they good or not? We want to see more of them. Well, that's what yesterday Paolo Montero, before saying goodbye, offered to us. What did he say? Because it's better to go towards his words about the individualities of yesterday. He spoke about Federico Chiesa. That is a player that can play on the left, on the right. It's a player that can offer something, that takes initiative. If he plays like that, he's making the difference. Pay attention to the word if, and when he plays like he played yesterday is the one that can make the difference. About Fagioli, we already said, he is intelligent. He's a player that knows how to treat the ball. He can read every single situation. Just a last word about Fagioli. How much did we miss him? I asked the question, I didn't answer. I tell you, a lot. Could he have done the difference in season 23-24? We will never know. Unfortunately, we will never know. What about Yildiz? He said he has the talent as someone like Del Piero. What a word. From Paolo Montero that knows Del Piero extremely well. Of course, comparing them is huge, but that should be a motivation for Kenan Yildiz. I hope he's taking care. Yesterday, he made sure that Thiago started. We were all impressed about the few minutes of Thiago. He said he has technique, he is really fast, he has personality, and he could stay in a Juventus. Not in terms of mercato, but in terms of player, it's a player that could stay in the 30 players of Juve also for the future. And then he spoke about Carlo Pinsoglio. What about Carlo Pinsoglio? Well, a guy that was waiting for 45 minutes because last season, unfortunately, he couldn't. Well, he was waiting for it, and he did extremely well. Much more than a third goalkeeper, much more than one that is only taking care about the locker room and the ambiance and the team spirit, but also someone that when he's there on the field, well, he's doing his job. Now, Alexandro, 8 years that Paolo Montero knows him, a fantastic person that wrote history here. And that's where I enter the controversial part, because we have a lot of topics to speak about. Alexandro is the first one. Yesterday, I was happy to see the stadium that understood the moment and that applauded Alexandro. There was not one single whistle. And this is for me really touching. I was heartbroken when I saw Alexandro leaving the field, trying to keep his tears, trying not to cry. He couldn't. It was too much for him. He said it afterwards at the microphones. He never cried that much as the last week because he was conscious that these are the last one. 327 games, equalizing Pavel Nedved. Yesterday he finished his journey in Bianconero with a goal. He's 16th at Juventus, 11 trophies for him. I was really heartbroken and touched by Alexandro leaving. I always said it. I have never been, even the first 2 years of Alexandro at peak, never been a fan of Alexandro the player. Never in my life. I have been sold on Alexandro. I was never a supporter. I never bought a shirt of Alexandro with the number 12. So I have always been consequence. But I always said, the man is someone that I have so much respect for, and I always tried when he was doing some good game, because don't believe that in the 9 seasons of Alexandro with Juve he never played a good game, even in the last year, even if the last 3 seasons when he was performing well. I was probably, and let me take that hat off because it's ridiculous, I was the first one to tell that Alexandro did well in that particular game. Does that mean that from that game I was loving the player? The player? Absolutely not. But yesterday I saw a lot of hypocrisy online. A lot of people that I watched, that I know, that bashed him, that insulted him so much during so many years. Yesterday, grazie Alexandro, grazie, fantastic. No. I think that you need to be consequent in life. And you need to be able to split when judging a name. You need to split the player and what he's delivering and the person. For me personally, a person that always respected Juventus with behaviors off and on the field, well, he will always have my maximum of respect. Will I remember Alexandro as a legend of a player from Juventus? No, but as a legend of Juventus as a person, absolutely yet. And when you are reading all the comments from the players yesterday, from Paolo Montero, for all the people that are speaking about Alexandro, well, there are some things, I believe, some lessons that we can hear about that. So in the future, if you don't like a player, because he's not performing, because he's not your player, pay attention to speak about the player and not the man. That's what I wanted to say. Now, Paolo Montero yesterday said, La Juve ha futuro. And then, to you, Motta. He didn't say to you, Motta. This is the title of Tuttosport. But yes, this Juventus has future. The question mark is, which players of this Juventus 23-24 will have a future? If you're looking at that picture, we see all the players that were part of 23-24. Well, we see that Alexandro for sure will not be the future of Juventus because yesterday was his last game. And then we have a lot of question marks. Adrien Rabiot, Milik, Szczesny, and much more of these players. The certainties are, at the moment, as we speak, Cambiaso and Rugani that just extended their contract. All the other ones, we don't know. We don't know. And we open now the controversial part. We start with Di Gregorio. Di Gregorio. The big question is not if Di Gregorio will come, but who will leave. Well, yesterday, big spoiler. First of all, we saw Adriano Galliani, that is taking care of Monza in the Allianz Stadium. Funny story, I don't know if you watch it or not, but before the game, he was sitting on the bench of Juve. Adriano Galliani, that has always been before joining Milan back then, a Juve supporter. I don't know if you know that story or not. He was a Juve supporter, then became, of course, Milanista because of professional work. But yesterday he was sitting on the bench of Juve before the fans told him, you're on the wrong bench. Well, we saw him yesterday before giving the MVP trophy to Di Gregorio, speaking with him, and we started to understand what he was saying. And then, of course, when you have a Locatelli that is going there, taking here Di Gregorio from the neck and telling him, Guy, we are counting you a lot. These are beautiful spoilers. Well, then, another spoiler from Paladino that will leave Monza as well, that said, yes, I spoke to Di Gregorio. I think it was the right spot to speak with him. I am a Juventino, Paladino, we know it. He grew up with Juventus in all the youth academy. He made his official start with first team. We all remember that scene with Del Piero, for example. And he told him, what is the spirit of Juventus? That if he comes here, well, he needs to continue keeping his winning mentality. If you come here, you need to keep it, Di Gregorio. Another spoiler to understand it, and then we know it also. And the goodbye that we saw of Di Gregorio saying to the fans of Monza, you will always be in my heart. Thank you, thank you. Now the question is, Di Gregorio is 26 years old. MVP of Serie A as goalkeeper. Do you really sincerely believe that he's coming to Juventus to sit on the bench? I don't think so. I don't think so. I said it yesterday partially in the video. I believe that Juventus will try to sell Szczęsny. Convinced about it? No. Will it happen? I am not sure, but they will try. Why? To save a big salary and to start playing immediately with Di Gregorio. That is a favorite of Thiago Motta. Why? Because he has that opportunity, that ability also to be a bit stronger with his feet, to build from the back. And that's an important one in that famous 2-7-2 of Thiago Motta. So Szczęsny could potentially leave. If it will happen, again, we don't know. That's one thing. Then, Apriti cielo, disaster, triple whistle, Juve, Monza, 2-0, party, goodbye to Alexandro, the cup around the stadium, Federico Chiesa with a big smile, the one that scored again yesterday. Well, Di Marzio is going on television, Sky Sport Italia, and what is he saying? Big bold words, huh? Chiesa is not considered a priority for Thiago Motta. The evaluations of Thiago Motta are strictly linked to the technical preferences and does not represent a need for the sale of the player from the club. Motta's decision is based on a tactical vision that could lead to different solutions on the pitch, favoring other players who better suit his style of play. And here we go with a disaster. Did he say, Thiago Motta, that we need to sell Federico Chiesa at all cost? No, he didn't say that. Did he say that he didn't like Federico Chiesa? No, he didn't say that. He said, at the moment, or at least reported by Di Marzio, he's not the favorite one to be in my starting 11. He's not my favorite one. From there, before discussion at that point, what do I see? Di Marzio is a fraud. Di Marzio is lying. How is it possible that he already knows these kind of things? Di Marzio, we don't believe in him. And guys, I know how it works with rumors, with gossip, with mercato. If we like the news, whoever is reporting it, we believe in it. GOAT reported. If we don't like the news, he's a fraud. He's fake. He's lying. He knows nothing. Dark moon instead of yellow moon. I know how it works. It can even be the same reporter that is telling you in the same day one news that you like, fantastic, and one news that you don't like, shit. I know how it works. Now, try to think rational about it, not influenced by emotions by Federico Chiesa. If Di Marzio is saying these words on the 25th of May, how is it possible that I go out and I put you the video with this video on the 20th of May? Thiago Motta is not that of the biggest fan of Chiesa. He's not that hot on Chiesa. Non stravede per lui. What does that mean in Italian? He doesn't see the huge big thing in Chiesa at the moment as we speak. You hear the words? We are speaking about 5-6 days before, where I'm telling you here live on the channel exactly the same things at Di Marzio. Or Di Marzio was watching the live and he said, Beppe, I will listen to him and I will report. Or the sources, the rumors that came to the ears of Di Marzio are the same one of the one that I heard. I'm not saying that Thiago Motta said it. At least these are rumors reported by myself, anticipating it, and by Di Marzio. Something should be right in the rumors that came to us. Again, not saying that Thiago Motta will never play Federico Chiesa. Not saying that the Chiesa will not be a fantastic player for Thiago Motta. But think about it. And if we are putting aside the emotions, there are two different stories that we need to take care about when we are speaking about Federico Chiesa. The first one, the opinion of the club. 1 year of contract is really risky. Risky to lose the player in February 25 for €0. Something that Juventus can't allow themselves. They can't let him go for free. One. Secondly, we know that there will be a big sacrifice on the market. You like it or not, this will happen. If we want to complete the team, and all the voices were going to Bremer. Remember? Now, with Thiago Motta, that apparently thinks that Bremer and also Vlahovic are essential to his game. He even added a few other players that I will tell you in a second. Well, there is one that is remaining that you can cash in at the moment. It is Federico Chiesa. This is from a point of view from the club, cashing in before it's too late. Then, if you're looking at the player, Federico Chiesa, what is the sentence that I repeat you all season long? Individual, he's the best player of the team. He's the best player of the team. He's the best player of the team in terms of individuality, in terms of that acceleration, that dribble, pointing the goal, going with the left foot, going with the right foot, playing on the left, playing on the right. Fantastic. Fantastic. Federico Chiesa is the star of Juventus if we want. If we really want to describe Federico Chiesa, he's the star of the team. But I told you, and I repeated you so many times, the thing is that Federico Chiesa was already healthy from a physical point of view, but not yet healthy from a mental point of view. And this season, what we saw from Federico Chiesa was a Federico Chiesa fighting alone to prove himself that he's still the player from Euro 2021. A lot of time isolated on the field, a lot of time fighting with himself, trying to prove himself, trying to dribble, insisting on some things that unfortunately at certain moments of the season he was not able to do with continuity, which we are starting to see in this last part of the season. A team that is not, a player that is not, let's say, selfish, but first thinking about himself, at least in this season, more than the team. Where the principle of the game of Thiago Motta are collective trust, involving a lot of players sacrificing for each other, covering positions. And if we know that a lot of fights happen between Max Allegri and Federico Chiesa for a position in a 3-5-2 that was a bit more central, let's say 15-20 meters than his initial position on the left wing, well, we can know that it can be a player that is not ideal for the game style of Thiago Motta. Then, will he work on him if he stays? And will he improve? And will he do the things that Thiago Motta is asking for? Maybe yes. But the initial takes, when you have these first meetings, the first rumors, if you are going for Thiago Motta, guys, if you are already having these discussions since the month of January, February, between Giuntoli and Thiago Motta, of course they already spoke about tactics, of course they already spoke about players, of course there is a first initial opinion, evaluation, recap on players. Like for example, the fact that we know that Sule is a player that Thiago Motta is seeing at Juventus on that right side of the field in a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3 or a 2-7-2 if you prefer to. That's the reality of where we are with Federico Chiesa. It's a player that at the moment as we speak, the first evaluations from Thiago Motta are, I'm not against the player, but the player, if I go with an ideal way of playing of mine, he's not a starter today, today as we speak. And then I start seeing online, better going for Pioli. We don't like Thiago Motta. He doesn't understand nothing. Guys, it's always like that. We love the news. We don't love the news. Giuntoli was doing nothing and we hated him in Giuntoli. Out, disaster. How is it possible that he's going to sign a player like Thiago Jallo that is zero? And yesterday we saw 10 minutes of Thiago Jallo. Mamma mia, what did Giuntoli do? Fantastic. Giuntoli He continues with Max Allegri in season 23-24 and we hate Giuntoli. Then Giuntoli stops with Max Allegri. Giuntoli, fantastic. The king of the mercato. Thiago Motta at Bologna, the coach. We need him. 2-7-2. We love how he's playing. Look at the players. Look at Calafiori. What are they doing? Fantastic. Thiago Motta is the coach of the next generation. Then he says, or at least reported the rumor that he doesn't like Chiesa. No. Thiago Motta out already now. We don't like Thiago Motta. It's better to go for Pioli. I heard Pioli. Can you imagine? I heard Stefano Pioli. It was even better to keep Max Allegri. That's what I was reading on. Guys. We finish with the last news about the midfield. Guys, the midfield. A lot will depend on two players. The first one is Adrien Rabiot. Again, in the Serie A team of the season of 23-24, together with Bremer, together with Dusan Vlahovic. At a certain moment, guys, there is no coincidence. Adrien Rabiot is a priority for Thiago Motta. Will they be able to continue with him? Apparently, I heard that Juventus can offer a salary between 5.5 and 6 million euro. Will that be enough for Rabiot to sign and to continue with Thiago Motta that sees him as an essential player? Big question. If Adrien doesn't extend, well, we'll have to go on the market for a player. And probably a cheap player because you will not cash in for Adrien Rabiot. The second one is Cope Manners that Juventus apparently, according to the rumors, offered 40 million euro while plus 5 of bonus, while Atalanta is asking 60 million euro. There is a big, huge gap. Again, at today, I see no solution to close that gap because we are not speaking about 5 or 10 million euro. We are speaking about 20 million euro gap, which are immense. From these two players, from the moment that we have the answers on Rabiot and Koopmeiners, we will start understanding who can reinforce our midfield. Pay attention, Serie A 23-24 is over, and if we are already looking at Serie A 24-25 from our opponents, well, it will be a spectacular one. I can already tell you, with Thiago Motta on the bench of Juve, fighting to close the gap with Inter of Simone Inzaghi, but then there will be our old ex-coach and capitano Antonio Conte that should go to Napoli. I tell you, Serie A 24-25 will be a spectacular. And we will be here to comment it all together. Grazie Juventini. Let me know in the comment section what you think about it from that long video, from that big controversy. Grazie, forza, Juve.